Cool. I am live, I think. Hey, how's it going? I got one viewer. Live on YouTube. Oh, I got two viewers. Well, there you go. Wonder what I should make my background. We'll go with this. And I'll go to Reddit. Figured I could. I'm doing this right now just so I can get comfortable with it for when I do it next week. I got a fancy camera, so one that's supposed to be more clear than, or show me in a better, supposed to look better. And then I have all this lighting around me, so just making sure that all works. Hello. Figured I go live just to get comfortable with it. And I can look at some Microsoft project questions. If any one of our actual subscribers joined, it is the end of the day, I suppose. So all the folks on the East and West Coast are probably not thinking about Microsoft Project at this point, but maybe you have some people who are just casually looking up YouTube that like us, that want to join here. So I think that I'll go through and look at some questions that people are asking about Microsoft Project. So I found this Reddit page that says MS Product Project. There's another Reddit page called Microsoft Project. And I see that people are asking questions on those pages. There's this site called Stack Exchange where people will ask questions related to Microsoft Project every now and then. So let's see if we can find some that we could do a good job at answering. Here's one that was asked on April 30th. This one was asked 10 hours ago. How are you managing capital or client projects in your ERP without losing visibility? That doesn't really sound like a Microsoft project question, so I'm a little skeptical if that's what if that's what this is going to be about. But we'll see here. I've been working with a few project-heavy organizations, constructions, ETO, manufacturing, infrastructure, and life sciences that rely on ERP systems to manage operations, but when it comes to complex project-based work, things often break down. Some common patterns: limited visibility across phases, cost centers or change orders, manual workarounds in Excel or disconnected tool, ERP setups that don't align well with project delivery or job costing models. I'm curious, how are others approaching this? Are you customizing your ERP, building shadow systems, using add-ons or workflows to close gaps? Would love to hear what's working or what's not working in real world environments. Man, what a question that this is. I mean, how does someone go about answering that in a concise way on the internet? It'd be a little tough. They tag this as MS Project, so maybe I should just type something like, you should use Microsoft Project. It's a great project management tool. Yes, we should use Microsoft Project with SSI tools, of course. I don't know if that necessarily answers what this person is asking for, because they're looking for an ERP system, an enterprise resource planning system. So that might be more something like Project Online, but I don't really like its capabilities. I don't really like Project Online's capabilities. The way that it's advertised just doesn't work very much in practice. Hello, everyone. Look, I see I've got some viewers coming in. A couple of them are my fellow SSI team members, and I know one of them's my wife, but maybe we'll get some people who are just fans of SSI on. Let's look at Reddit. So I found this Microsoft Project Reddit page here, and there's 3,400 members that are in this. And I see that people post questions in here on a pretty regular basis. So I've been going through and trying to answer a couple of them. I posted my own thing just showing my how to correctly status tasks in Microsoft Project. Let's see if there's any that I haven't necessarily looked at yet that we could take a stab at. Okay, so I've looked at this, how to manage variance to a baseline schedule, any way to merge 3 sub-projects into one. Let's see, have I answered this one? I did. let's see here. Sure, we can find something that we haven't looked at yet. Consultant needed for construction company looking to present data in a better way. Ooh, interesting. We're currently running projects for our schedules. It says we're running projects, plural, for our schedules. I'm thinking that this person meant to say we're running Microsoft Project for our schedules, but I'm not happy with how it looks, and it isn't as simple or foolproof as I need it to be for some of my staff. I know there's a way to accomplish both with more R&D of our template, but I don't have time. Looking for someone who can help as a consultant. Please send a DM or share links if you have suggestions. We're located in Massachusetts. Thank you. Looks like some people have responded to this. Look, there's like open advertisements for people looking for consultants here. I'm going to type, if you are using Microsoft Project to build your schedules, if you're using Microsoft Project to build your schedules, then SSI Presentation Pro can be a great tool to help you present your project data. And of course, we got to link that. SSItools.com. We'll go to SSItools.com. We'll get the link to SSI Presentation Professional. Copy that. Paste that in here. And I'll let them know that I'll shoot over a DM. There we go. All right, and I suppose we'll try to DM this guy. Start a chat. Hi. With displaying Microsoft Project data. We'll go with that. Looks like I've got someone who's upvoted one of my comments here. So someone posted this in this Microsoft Project Reddit that says the status column is incorrect. They're talking about the status on summaries. So they're seeing that the status on their summary task, I don't know if this is really big on YouTube here. They have these summary tasks that are status, the percent complete of these values is not 100, yet the status over here shows complete. So there's a column that you can add in Microsoft Project called status, and that shows a couple different values. I think it shows like not started, in progress, or complete, or something like that. I don't know. I don't use it. It's not really necessary to use if you have SSI tools. But they're wondering why the status column shows complete for these summaries, yet the percent complete is not 100. And so that can only really happen if they have not statused the activities correctly. So if they haven't statused the activities correctly, the child activities underneath the summary line, then that issue could exist. So I responded to them and I said exactly that. And I gave them a link to my video for how to correctly status tasks in Microsoft Project. Very good. Let's go back to our MS Project Reddit. Hello, folks. Leah, are you still watching, Leah? We'll take a look at the other Reddit page, Microsoft Project. And let's take a look at this one, custom view. I'm on a project that basically uses Excel to schedule tasks when building a large piece of equipment. Essentially, it is a column showing time of day broken into 30-minute segments, one column showing critical path tasks lining up to those times, and then another showing available tasks that can now be completed because their predecessor is complete but are off the critical path. Will need to be more complicated than that, but that's a good start. This has worked well, but the guy that created the Excel sheet is off the project, and he updated it daily. That is now my task, and I don't like how manual it is. I want to use Project to do this, but I'm not sure how to get a custom view like this because the tradesmen really like to use this setup. It has a lot of benefits. It's visual, easy to understand, but too manual for me. Is there a way to set up this in Project with a custom report or something, or do I export to Excel and write a macro to handle this? This project will be repeated many times, so willing to put in some effort up front to have it run smoothly in the future. Any direction would be appreciated. Yeah, well, that sounds like a problem for this person. You definitely don't want to be managing a schedule in Excel. We want to use the powerful scheduling tools that exist within Microsoft Project. And it looks like they want to be able to have some type of visual. I'm assuming that the schedule right now, or the way that things look in Excel, is somewhat visual. Let's see what other people have said. Are you trying to do task timing? I'm not sure how to do the 30-minute increment part since Project is more geared towards days and weeks. That's true. You'd have to set up the calendar to work with the right hours and designate the resources if they need different hours. Might be better to use Smart Sheets as it looks similar to Excel and your team could adopt to it faster. All right. Thumbs down to using Smart Sheets. Come on. We got to use Microsoft Project with SSI tools. I personally would move away from using Excel entirely because you're not, as you noted, it's not dynamic and it's going to waste a lot of time. Per my most helpful work colleague, aka ChatGPT, if you're looking to move away from a manual Excel-based schedule and keep the same clear visual style, MS Project can definitely work, but not out of the box. You need to set up flags for critical versus non-critical tasks, create views that group by time of day, and possibly export filtered data to Excel for formatting. It's doable, especially if you template the setup. But tradespeople still may prefer the grid style view they're used to. If you're open to other tools, Smartsheet is a strong middle ground. Once again, we're just creating an advertisement for Smartsheet in this Reddit post. Excel feel with built-in scheduling logic and automation. True task time workflows, touch plan or Vislean are purpose-built and give you visual tasks. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Next one, it says, if people are still using the tool and MatBit have access to MSP and MatBit, so that's supposed to say something else, have access to MSP, you could be causing issues for yourself by moving to MSP. If using MSP, ensure that everything is linked up correctly so that you're using the power of Project to your average. I'm thinking that's supposed to say your advantage. If they're linked up, you can use the risk Slack to see what is priority. You may need to come up with some output to Excel that trades can receive data. All right, so all those answers are what I would say are suboptimal. the obvious answer here is yes, you can definitely use Microsoft Project, and then you should use Presentation Pro. You can definitely use Microsoft Project for the task you described. Microsoft Project is a powerful tool. Microsoft Project has a powerful scheduling engine that can update task start and finish dates based on predecessor and successor logic. Start and finish dates automatically. It would be helpful to see exactly the format of the Excel report the team is used to seeing, but I would absent that, I would recommend you check out SSI Presentation Professional, a tool designed to create schedule charts from real Microsoft Project data. And of course, again, we're going to link Presentation Professional there. And I'll hit them with a little disclaimer. Disclaimer, my company is the maker. All right, I think that works. We'll comment that. And we'll go back to our Microsoft Project Reddit, and we'll see what else people are asking. Let's see here. So someone wants to create a filtered percent complete. Okay. I've been trying to create a custom column that can measure percent complete, but only for tasks within a specific baseline finish date range, and exclude from the count anything before or after said range. Any ideas how to do this? I've been trying to use AI, but the formulas it spits out have syntax errors and don't quite work. Looking for some help. Someone says, honestly, the easiest would be to copy and paste into Excel and to use Excel to do the count. Wrongo. Custom column that can measure percent complete, but only for tasks within a specific baseline finish date range, and exclude from the count anything. So it says they're trying to create a custom column that can measure percent complete, but the title of the post says create filtered percent complete. So I'm a little confused with the wording of the question. If they are wanting to create a column, like a custom column that gives them a percent complete number for certain tasks, or if they want to create a filter that displays tasks that are only within a specific range, like specific baseline finish date range. I've been trying to create a custom column that can measure percent complete, but only for tasks within a specific baseline finish date range, and exclude from the count anything before or after said date range. So let's see what other people said. I think you may be overcomplicating it. Take a copy of the date range filter and adjust it to be for the baseline dates instead. Doesn't work, still counts those outside of the date range, impacting percent complete. Is there a report that can do this in project? You can make a custom flag that triggers for your specific date range and then group by that flag. That works. That will give you what you need. I think this answer right here actually is the best, which is kind of interesting because this same person said to copy and paste this into Excel. I'm going to upvote that one. Let's see if there's one that's less open to interpretation of what the questioner is actually asking. Account is gehacked and Microsoft is 90. So, all right, we've got I don't know what language that is, but won't be able to answer that one. Is it possible to use dollars rates instead of dollar per hour rates? So dollar per SF rates, dollars per square foot. Okay. I'm starting to use Microsoft Project for construction planning, specifically for finishes like flooring installation. I'm wondering if it's possible to configure a resource with a standard rate in dollars per square foot instead of the usual dollars per hour. For example, I have a contractor who charges $3.50 per square foot for vinyl flooring. I'd like to assign a rate to the task based on the square footage rather than work hours. This is absolutely doable. Great question. Although there isn't a specific per square foot, you could set the resource type to material, then change the work to be equal to the square foot value. So this person who put this answer is on the right track, but they could have expanded on this a little bit more. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to Microsoft Project and we're going to do this. We're going to do this live together. All right. So floor house is the name of the task here. And we'll say that that takes 5 days, however long it might take. And I'm going to go to my resource sheet. And in the resource sheet, I'm going to put, let's see, I want to make sure I use it. That's the same type of example here. Vinyl flooring is the material. So we're going to do vinyl flooring, which I don't really know how to spell that. So let me go back and just copy that text there. Vinyl, not a word I'm spelling very often. All right, so we got vinyl flooring, and we're going to make this a material type of resource. And the standard rate is going to be $3.50, $3.50, right? So that's our rate per unit of vinyl flooring. Now we just need to tell Microsoft Project what the units are. So there is a field that we can do that in, and it's called material labor. So I'm going to just type SF. Okay. So now we're going to be able to go back to that task and we'll be able to say that it's going to be like X amount of square footage, and it will calculate the rate based on that. So I'll go back to the Gantt chart here and we'll go to our floor house and we're going to add our resource. So let's look at our work field, vinyl flooring, and we're just going to type in, let's say, let's use the same number from the example. $145. All right, so let's use 145. I'll put that into remaining work here. And so you see that it says 145 SF for 145 square feet. And then if I look at the cost, you'll see that that cost right there is 145. We put the rate at $3.50 per hour. So I'm going to do 507.50. Well, I mean 145 multiplied by 350. And that is what gives me that $507.50 value. So that's working. If we look at this, right? So we've got our resource names, vinyl flooring, it shows 145 square feet. All right, and we could change that material label if we wanted to. So if I go back to my resource sheet, I could actually spell this out, square feet. And we'll go back to our Gantt chart. And there you go. You can see that the vinyl flooring, the resource that we've got on this task called Floor House, we've got the vinyl flooring resource. It is 145 square feet. That's our units. And I entered that in the, or I adjusted that in the remaining work value in the work field for whatever reason. You know, that's what Microsoft Project likes. Square feet is kind of that's a bit of a long way of saying that. So let's abbreviate that. So let's do just, how would we abbreviate square? Just square like that. And we'll do feet as FT. And I think that everyone who looks at that would be able to understand that that's square feet. Huh, take a look at that there. Take a look at that. That looks nice. 145 square feet, $507.50. All right. I like that. All right, I think I'm going to end this stream here. I've enjoyed doing this YouTube live thing. And so we're definitely going to do it again. Get some practice in before my live stream next week, where I'm going to be showing new features of SSI tools. So let's go ahead and end the stream. Thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate you. And we'll talk soon.